Alright, yeah. So today we're here. I'm gonna do a little bit of an exposal video, not on Mars obviously, but on Lemonz, aka God Eater on Discord, who has claimed to have gotten 55, not 5, but 1, as you can see here. That would have qualified him for the top split in HTCC round 1 to Cuba. And he submitted because you're required to record a lap of your quali lap just in case the admins ask you for it. And he obviously did that. So the admins obviously and race control, everyone looked through it. I looked through it myself, and they obviously deemed this as not a legit lap, and so obviously he's cheating. Well, that's what they think at least, and I am not contrary to this opinion. So we're gonna take a look at his lap real quick, and then I'm gonna open Mars' lap here as well, and then compare the two with speeds and just the way they're taking lines and everything. Alright, so I'm just gonna run this through real quick, full screen. So his last corner was pretty bad. Brakes at a normal place, just turning is okay, but then this. Braking here was pretty bad. He has a lot of grip through there. And that was this lap. So yeah. Now I'm gonna play Mars lap. Maybe after quality of the video. Okay. This is pole position, by the way. And that's the lap. So I'm pretty sure you already noticed the differences. It's majorly the lines he's taking. But we're gonna go through the lap real quick here and compare the speeds and lines he's taking. So let's go through the last corner because that was the most sus part of the whole like video. The last corner of his out lap before he starts the what's it called? The push lap. So he turns in around here, a bit earlier than that, obviously. He corrects it like 3 times here. Runs really wide. By now he would have scrubbed a lot of speed, which he does. He does drop to 187 kilometers an hour, which is equal to, let me see real quick. 187 kilometers an hour, 116 miles an hour, which was pretty bad for the last corner. He crosses the line at 197. That is 122 kilometer or miles an hour, which is about three, maybe 2, 3 miles an hour lower than what you would want to be across the line, ideally. If we compare it with Mars Lab real quick, nice ad. Um, let's not. Oh my God, I didn't need to get ad blocker. Anyway, compare with Mars Lab. His lowest speed is a 120 on the out lap, which is not the best speed. Um, crosses the line at 125, so he's already here 3 miles an hour faster. And we're gonna go through with his lap here real quick. So he brakes on 36 meters away from the checkpoint. I think Mars has actually. He brakes way earlier. At least it looks like it. Actually, maybe not. It's about the same distance. It's maybe just the perspective that makes it look like it's later. Either way, they brake kind of similarly. Mars takes the inside line, hugs the inside, goes a little bit wide actually, but maybe that made him manage to carry more speed through the corner, like lowest speed wise. His lowest speed is 55 miles an hour. And let's go through Lemonz lap. Lowest speed is 92 kilometers an hour, which equals 57 miles an hour while taking a tighter line. So that's the first hint. And we go to this checkpoint, he's at a 9 minute or 9 seconds exactly with 127 kilometers an hour, which is 77 miles an hour. Let's go to Mars lap. Is that maybe a bit later? Oh. He's already a 10th down, so Mars on it, the best lap ever recorded is already a 10th down on Lemonz, and he's a little bit faster because he carried a smoother line through, but somehow he's a 10th up already. Well, let's continue with Lemonz line here. We look at the time at this next checkpoint here. 12, almost 2. Let's see if we can get to like stop at a time where he's just about past the checkpoint here. That is 12 to 48, and he's at 159 kilometers an hour. The speed is not going to differ much because obviously we suspect he's using grip hacks and not speed hacks. It's a bit let me go very slow motion. Forgot how to go frame by frame, so I'm just gonna do this and pause it. A bit too much. Like this. He's a little bit down. So Mars lap or Mars time is like this is about the same actually. So Mars lap is just a tiny bit down, but again he took a way better line through the first turn and exited with more speed. So technically he should be way further ahead, but he isn't. So let's put this back to normal and go back to his lap and continue with his lap. Yeah, so my bad, real quick. Headset right now. But we continue with his lap here, real quick. Brakes at pretty normal point actually. A wide line, very wide line. His lowest speed is 79 kilometers an hour. 79 is 49 miles an hour. Look at Mars' lap. He does kind of the same line, but then he cuts in earlier. His lowest speed is 43 miles an hour. So this guy Lemonz, goes through the corner with the lowest speed being. Let's go back and check again to make sure. 43 miles an hour. So his lowest speed through the corner is 6 miles an hour higher than Mars on the ideal lap, basically. Like this lap is, I'm not sure if you can get any faster than this. Maybe you could probably squeeze out like a little bit, but he said himself that that lap he doesn't even know how he did it. So I I'm pretty sure there's not much time left in that. But once again, we keep going. So he hugs the inside, even though he has a much higher speed at this time. So he's still, let's stay on the inside. He's still on the inside of the corner. At this point, he's at 90 kilometers an hour, which is 56 miles an hour almost. Exiting, and Mars is still at 52, and he's unable to hug the inside. He runs wide here, in fact. And let's see what time he hits this split at. He's at a 22.9. You go to his POV here. 22.9 as well. A bit slower actually, but maybe he's just a bit further. Could be, yeah, he's actually a bit further. So he's still up on Mars here at this point. While all this while carrying more speed. So Mars at this point is at 86 miles an hour. Let me see. 140 kilometers an hour. 86 matches up, obviously, since he's not using speed hacks. We go back to his POV here. Carries decent speed through this corner. Lowest speed was 144, which is 89 miles an hour. Mars actually carries more speed, but does go wider. So at this point, he's at 96 miles an hour. Let's go ahead. And you can even see by the line, like, he doesn't even go wide and let the car, you know, he doesn't let the car flow through the corner, while Mars lets it run wide, tries to scrub as little speed as possible. It's 96 at the checkpoint here. Let's go back to Lemonz here. 154. About 96, almost the same. We continue with his lap here. But again, he took a really shit line. I think here he might have tried to turn in, but he got surprised about how much grip he had. So he actually lost time here because of the grip hacks. Well, you can see Mars, the speed is steadily increasing because he's trying to take a very smooth line. While here, he literally just gets surprised by how much grip he has. He tries to like tap steer in, but then he realizes that he has too much grip. And he scrubs a lot of speed here because of the grip hacks. So he goes down to 163 kilometers an hour as a lowest speed. It was just 101 miles an hour. Mars here is steadily increasing, so you can't really see the lowest speed. Now once again, let's stop at this checkpoint here. He just about hit it, 115 miles an hour. A bit too far ahead. He's not gonna be at a higher speed because he obviously scrubbed a lot of speed. Can I please aim? Oh god. I keep... Okay. Let's say 181 because it's a bit earlier than Mars. He's 112. He's 3 miles an hour down. Obviously because he scrubbed a lot of speed. And the time difference is 30 point, what is that? 581. And he's actually down now because of that. So that is basically all the time he lost in that little left-hander because of the grip hacks, that he got surprised by his own grip and scrubbed a lot of speed because he turned too much. He brakes on the sand, which is not, it's not unusual. I think Mars does it as well on his lap. He does that, yeah. Once again, very smooth turn in, hugs the inside, gets on power just about the right time. And let's look at his lowest speed again here. Brakes into the corner. Lowest speed is 53 miles an hour. .89 kilometers, which is 55 miles an hour. So again, he carries more speed, which I think it is possible to carry that much more speed through that corner. Stop at this checkpoint to compare the speed and the time. Although I think Mars got a bit of a better exit here. I think they're about the same. 38.6, 38.4. So he actually gained on Mars here a little bit. And the speed is 135 kilometers an hour versus 85 miles an hour, which is 135. Oh, 135. 84, it's the same speed basically, even though he took a worse line. And he carried more speed. And then we come to the last corner, which, to be honest, wasn't too bad. But you can see, he turns in, corrects it a couple times. He's tap steering, tap steering, tap steering. His lowest speed is 190, 189. And he doesn't let the car run wide. Now, a 55.1 is pretty hard to achieve. I don't know if the Link can carry more speeds. We're gonna actually pull up Mars' lap as well with, or I think it's Green's lap with the Link & Co. Maybe it's Mars actually. I'm not sure. And then compare speeds with that as well. But just like, it's pretty obvious. Like you can just tell exactly by the speeds and the way he's taking the corners that he should not be getting a 55.1 with those corners, or with those lines. I mean. Once again, the lowest speed was 189 kilometers an hour, which is pretty bad. So 117 miles an hour. Mars here. Very smooth turn in. Roll steering through the whole entire corner. Barely drops to 121 miles an hour, which is ideal. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious. And actually, let's pull up the lap with the Link & Co. Also by Mars, actually. And compare the speeds, because, you know, maybe the speed is different because he's in a... Where is he actually? He's in a Link & Co, yeah. So let's go back. Lowest speed through turn 1. 92 kilometers an hour. Once again, compare it. 92. 57, so technically Mars should not go 57, okay. Lowest speed for Mars through this corner is 45. Although that was not the best line from him. Let's compare it with him. .79 kilometers. Yeah, 49. This one is, it's pretty clear on this one. Mars even carried a higher top speed than what you should, because I feel like maybe it's different with the Link, but I'm not sure because I was driving the MG. But the way he took this line, he kind of went a little bit deep in it, carrying more speed. But he went a little bit deep and probably lost a little bit of time here on the exit. However, Lemonz here is taking a tight line and is carrying more speed, taking a tight line, and he got on throttle really early. Like if you notice, compared to Mars laps, he got on throttle. Look at that turn in. Even the camera angle already tells you that something's wrong here. He gets back on throttle right here at 16.8. They're about the same time here on the main lap. Let's go back. Mars gets on throttle 4/10 later than him. He's pretty much at the apex of the corner where the checkpoint is. Let's go to this lap as well. I'm pretty sure it's even later in this one because he does go a little bit wide. Yeah, it's pretty much at the checkpoint, and this guy is getting on throttle before the corner even starts. So he's still in the phase of like braking into the corner and trying to get the car rotated, and he already gets on throttle. And since it's obviously a front-wheel drive car, you would expect front-wheel drive. You accelerate full throttle, it goes straight. It does not. It does not turn in. There's no throttle steering with these cars. They're front-wheel drive. If it was rear-wheel drive, you could say, okay, maybe he used it to like throttle steer. But it's front-wheel drive. You get on throttle, the car understeers. That's just how the physics work in real life and also in Forza. So you can't argue with that. That how early he gets on throttle here, no matter if it's the Link or the MG. If you look at Mars' lap real quick, or really quickly, you'll notice that he's basically at this checkpoint here on the inside. Same with the Link and Co lap, and he's not even into the corner yet, and he's already getting on throttle. And look at that turning he gets. It's just it's hard to believe that this is a legit lap. And the pure fact that he's 5 miles an hour faster through that corner or 4 or whatever it is, like 5 miles an hour is quite a bit of speed difference, and uh, yeah, it just doesn't add up. And once again, the rest of the lap is not that bad. It's mostly that corner here and turn 1. But the pure fact that he's taking turn 1 like this, like you can clearly see it. The initial turn in is not bad. But then he gets on throttle and he gets more turn, like he gets more handling. He doesn't carry the speed wide, and he's up a tenth on Mars here somehow. So that already is very sus. And then you get through this corner, and yeah, it's pretty obvious in this one here. So I actually thought that's more obvious in this one, in turn 1. But this second hairpin is even more obvious, but just by the fact how early he gets on throttle. Like a car like this is not able to take this slip angle through the corner while throttling, turning in more while on throttle than off throttle, and also hugging the inside of the apex. So it's pretty obvious. I don't think I need any more proof of this guy cheating. I'm gonna pause the recording real quick to pull up what he wrote down. So I'll be right back. All right, we are back, and this is the video, or well, the apology he sent to Albant when he confronted him and tried to get proof out of him that he was in fact not cheating. He obviously tried to record a lap here with with the task manager open and etc etc. And by the way, that wasn't the best I can do that corner. This is gonna be a little long. Please read till the end. At this point, I know you probably won't believe me if I get that corner almost perfectly again. It took me over 6 hours straight to get my quality lap. I sent through, I guess, a small example of how I kinda use the brakes through that corner and why the tires don't really screech. For some reason you said it was sus. I can't quite explain what it is, but if I brake and turn in a certain way on that corner, they won't screech unless I'm steering too much and losing time on entry exit. It's just an educated guess. I'm trying to do what telemetry says is best, but apparently you guys know a lot more than me about this game, although I want I want to take your word on it, but it's possible to do it as I demonstrated on the quali lab, so I don't know how on earth I did it. No one of the few questions I have for you. Not one of the few questions I have for you. If I actually did have cheats, why would I bother investing 55 hours into this car on this circuit when I could have gained time elsewhere with cheats instead? So that statement alone is probably one of the dumbest things I've heard in a while because invested so much time in the car and tune. Like it's basically he sent us the tuning settings that he had, and it's basically the baseline tune that I think Magnus posted at the beginning of HCCC. But instead of 65 ARB, I think it is on that, it's 65-1 basically, a bit more, 65-130 to be exact, and which that's not what you gain through 55 hours of practice and testing. Like I'm not sure. What I gain is obviously when I was trying to tune the car, I was running like 65-40, but then I reverted back to 65-65 because it was just faster. And so clearly, this guy did not spend 55 hours tuning the car just to make it worse. And yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's probably yeah one of the dumbest things I've heard. And why would you invest so much time? I mean, you obviously didn't. And I mean, well, I mean, it's a competition where you can win prizes. Why would you not cheat? That's the question. Like, obviously, if you can't cheat, there's gonna be, if there's the possibility for people to cheat, there's gonna be people cheating. Like, it doesn't even have to be through grip hacks. It can even be just having a wrong build, like trying to squeeze in some other parts that are not supposed to be in the car, uh, just to match the same PI. So kind of try to hide it, but usually you can tell by the speeds you're going and just like when you're racing some people, you can just tell the difference in speed. And that happened with Akuma in Team Wars, and it's happened before. So we can clearly tell if someone's obviously using some kind of advantage to obviously do better in a race. But this guy is not even a different build. I'm pretty sure all he did is just used grip packs because you can't really. Well, you can make the car have more track width, I think. Actually, I'm not sure if the Link can even do that. But yeah, there's no way you get more handling out of this car, unless you do weight reduction. But in that case, the PI would go up so much that the speeds on the straights would not match. I don't think you can even get it down to 806 PI. I think is what it is with weight reduction on. Even if you put like, unless you have obviously different tires, which is not gonna give you any advantage because then you're gonna be slower in the corners anyway. And it would also be faster on the straights with weight reduction. I don't even know if these cars even get weight reduction, but either way, there's definitely not a way you can cheat by building the car differently in terms of handling. There's obviously the way you can cheat by giving it a little bit more power, maybe adding a little bit more weight to kind of balance the PI with heavier rims like that. But not in a way of giving it more grip. Like there's no way you can actually get more grip out of this car without obviously using grip hacks. So clearly it's grip hacks because there's no way to get the car to handle better. I continue to read this shit. Everyone I try questioning about it seems to ask the same thing. Why in only one corner? Why not be less conspicuous and spread the difference if you are going to cheat? Like 1% extra grip throughout the lap might give me a better time than I could have theoretically gained through the one corner anyway. So here I think he's misunderstanding what people are saying. I think because of the first turn being such a bad line, like I'm gonna just straight up say it's a bad line that he took. He in his initial turn it was fine, but then he just kept the inside. He did not let the car roll wide, and he just scrubbed so much speed, and he shouldn't have been able to carry that much speed. It was the most obvious corner. The second hairpin was less obvious, when you look at it real quick. But once you go into detail like we just did, you notice that the speed doesn't match up, and the way he gets back on throttle so early is just it's impossible to do a 55-1 um, with that kind of mistake in the lap. So, well, not even that. It's just you couldn't even have done that corner. Like if I went and did that in Forza right now, I would just straight up go straight. Like I wouldn't even make the corner. I would just run wide, either up so much speed that I would barely make the corner and just have a really bad exit. For sure, I would not go towards the inside of the corner because these cars don't. It's not about throttle steering. So he should have lost at least half a second there, and in the first turn maybe 2/10. And it doesn't make sense how he's matching Mars first sector with those lines. And obviously now it makes sense because we obviously clearly saw that this guy's using some kind of grip advantage. Um, so like grip hacks or whatever he's using, gravity, whatever it is, it's not legit. Um, I'd like I'd like to know your opinion on this. Also, did you even try the exact setup I sent you? Um, so about this, he's messaging Albant obviously, and he did try the setup, and he said that it was, I mean, the setup drove, it's basically the baseline setup, but with one rear air B, which is, if you're Doggerbot, you can maybe do something like that and actually do well with it. But even he was struggling with MG to get a 55-1 in the beginning with those settings until he switched to a different tune. So he was running like 65-15 ARBs, and then he switched back to, or switched to a different tune that someone gave him, and he obviously improved his lap. I think he got a 54 at the end. Um, yeah, he did. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did. Either way, with the tune he had initially, which was kind of similar to baseline, it was kind of my tune, but a bit modified to fit his wheel driving style. And he was using 65-1 or 65-15 AirBs, and it was working for him, I guess, because of the fact that he's on wheel. Um, but even then, I tried 65-1 on my MG as well, and it was just not working. Like it was straight up 2 to 3 tenths slower. And Albon tried this setup that he gave him as well, and he just could not match his time, which at the time was I think a 55-2, and he's in the link as well, so he should have experience with the car. And I think he got like, I'm not sure what time he got, but he couldn't match his time, his own time. And this guy's time apparently was faster than Albon's time, which is, if you look at Albon's lap, if you look at Albon's lap, I haven't seen it obviously, but the lines are. I know Albon. He's not a bad driver, and his lines were definitely better than this. Like I was driving behind him in practice, and I could clearly tell that his lines are better than this. So like he should be able to at least match his time if the tune is that good. But clearly he didn't, so that's definitely not the tune being better. But we keep going on here. And if you're willing to give it a go, tell me what you get with it. As you got about the same time with me, a bit less effort as me, with a bit less effort in quality, I think. Uh, I'm having a brain fart. As a last thing, I wish to share to you some reason for even joining this league. It was to test my skills against Horizon's best and generally good players. Unlike half of the clowns in Horizon Open that can't usually go a lap without sending you into a barrier. What's the point of testing yourself against other players if you're gonna cheat it? Defeats the purpose. I'm sure at least you understand that. Thanks for at least hearing me out. I'm not asking to be let back in the league or anything. I'm not expecting it either. I just want to try to help possibly clear up what is a confusing mess for me and you You and a few others, much of being called a cheater when you're not cheating is quite a compliment. It doesn't feel great for people to accuse me of something I didn't do. Whether you or anyone believes it is up to you. I have people that are on my side, so it makes me feel better about everything. Sorry for any inconveniences, and I hope you have a good day. So, in this last part, he's basically saying, "Oh, I'm so good that people think I'm cheating." But, I mean, you are cheating. There's nothing to feel good about. So he's just trying to cope here and trying to make it seem like it's not cheating. Like, I mean, if I submit a lap like this, and I would be caught cheating, I'll be like, yeah, I cheated. Yeah, I admit. Like, it's so obvious. Like, you can't hide this. It's so obvious. There's no way. There's no reason for yourself to defend yourself because, and even his teammates, like they saw the lap clearly. There's one guy, I think he was called like Big Mac Mike or something like that. He was on his team, and he got a similar lap to him. I think it was a point two. And but we also because he was defending him, so we looked at his lap as well. But his lap looked fine, comparing speeds and lines and everything. So his lap actually looked fine. And I mean, him being basically able to achieve this time legit. Surely, if you're that good to be at least 4/10, maybe a bit more than 4/10 within Mars time here, you should be able to tell that the recording of this lap is not legit. Like the lines just don't add up to that time. Like I'm sorry, but a 55-1 that people like Albant couldn't even achieve with trying to their best to take the best lines they want. And even Green barely got, well, he didn't even get a 54. He did get a 54 in practice, but he couldn't do it in quali and not in the race either. So he was on 55s and 55-1s. So and he was taking really good lines. And this guy just goes in, oh yeah, I'm just taking the two of the worst, three of the worst corners I've ever seen, and just put them together and make people think that this is actually a legit time. It's just you can't like it was not even effort. Like there's no effort put into this. Like I'm sure if you at least tried to cover it up a little bit, like at least trying to take better lines, people wouldn't have noticed as much. And you could have probably gotten away with it and actually maybe gotten a better time, even though if you got a better time, people would have into it even more because a person who no one ever heard about all of a sudden getting a time like this is quite suspicious. Like if imagine he got like a 55-0 or a 54 even, which would have put it in the top six, I think, or top five. People would have looked into it even more, and you would have gotten exposed. But like this guy is not even putting in the effort to try and make it seem legit, and he's still defending himself, and his teammates are doing the same. I mean, it also just brings up like suspicions about your teammates. Like if you're imagine yourself in the position of his teammate, like what do you do? Obviously you're his teammate, but I mean it's pretty obvious that he's cheating. What do you do? Why would you defend him? It's you're just making yourself look worse. Even if you might legit be legit, it you're making yourself look worse, and also just like you're just I don't know, you're making yourself suspicious as well. Even especially if you almost got the same time like this Big Mac Mike guy. He almost got he was like half a tenth slower than Lemonz, and he tried to defend him, so he looked into his lap as well, but he seemed legit. The speeds did match up, and so why even defend? Like you, surely if you get at 60 or 55-2, you're able to tell what good lines are. And if you look at this lap, you don't even have to be Mars or me or anyone that's like on the top side of the competition. You don't have to be an alien to tell that these lines are not, they don't add up to a 55-1. So it just doesn't make sense. Like even D2 and D3 drivers from RHEC were able to tell that this guy's lines are not it. And it honestly made me a little bit, there's other people who could be doing this. Maybe not getting the best time is just to like not pop out, but it just makes it all a little bit, it makes me also a little bit sad because some people, um, for example, I'm gonna mention Alpha or Aztec. He's like, oh, I'm not gonna do it, and I was like, why? Why are you not doing it? Oh, I only got a 55.5, and I mean, obviously that's not a bad time, but if you're seeing people like this, like just randoms coming out of nowhere, um, all of a sudden there's new people who you never heard of that get insane times like this, and it's obviously discouraging because you as a person who's been grinding and grinding and just trying to improve, guy comes in and just cheats his way through and gets into split one. Um, it's just it makes you lose motivation, and I'm sure there's other people like for example, mm, I'm pretty sure someone couldn't race because of this guy now. I think everyone did get moved up, but I think there's a couple no-showers, and maybe those people could have raced as well. If it, like, let's just imagine there was more people like this guy, who cheated, and there would have been more people who were actually legit, um, in the actual race. So we don't really know if anyone else is cheating. I'm assuming it's not. Obviously, I'm not gonna assume the worst. Um, like we assume people are legit. But if someone gets like an unknown person gets a really good time, and they're obviously gonna ask you for lap proof, and I mean, you have to expect that people are gonna be sus about you if you're a new person and all of a sudden you pop out, get into split one, beat people like I don't know who was it, Albant. I don't really. I forgot who was in split two. Um, but he beat regular Team Wars people, and he comes out of nowhere and just beats them, and then obviously people are gonna be sus and look at the lap, and it's cheated. Like it's pretty obvious. So yeah, I'm just I went a little bit on a rant here now, but that's just my take on it. Like this guy didn't even try to like hide it. He made it pretty obvious that he's cheating. So thankfully he did because now we know he's a cheater, and yeah, we can exclude him from future um, tournaments and all this. But obviously, he could just randomly come back from an alt account and do it again. It's just very hard to like police that. But yeah, that was all. I hope you guys understand a bit more on the situation. I hope that if you're watching this video, you learn from the mistakes and try to, go away from using cheats in games. Because honestly, it spoils the fun for everyone. For yourself, like what are you getting out of it? Like if you beat someone with cheats, does it feel like it doesn't feel like anything? It doesn't feel like imagine I always imagine myself in this situation. Like what would I get if I won yesterday? If I won split one, but I used 1% grip packs, I know I cheated. It's not gonna make me feel good. Whereas I feel better getting third place or any place, it doesn't even matter. But knowing I tried my best, I put the hardest into it, it would feel better than doing that than using grip packs and winning the race because you know, like you obviously lie to yourself and to everyone that you're legit, but you know deep inside that you're not legit, and it honestly must feel bad. Like I've obviously never experienced it because I've never cheated on anything, but it just feels bad. Like I don't know. I don't see the point in doing it in a competition. Obviously, if it's for money, you know, there's a point, but at that point you might as well go for P1, not just P12 or whatever it was. Like if it's for money, and at least try to like make it a bit more legit because this is pretty obvious. But yeah, I hope that um you'll be reformed after this, and if you're watching this video, please stop cheating. It spoils the fun for everyone but yourself as well. Like it doesn't do anyone any good. So yeah. Um, I hope everyone enjoyed. Well, probably not a very enjoyable video, but I hope everyone understands more about the situation. And yeah, thank you for watching.